So, נתיבות שלום על התורה, ספר שמות, and the Parashat וארא. We end up with Moshe and Aaron going to Pharaoh, asking him to release us for 3 days. Pharaoh doesn't like it. He say, you have time to go and worship your God? It means that you're not busy enough. We don't supply you anymore the raw materials. You have to meet the quotas as you did before. If you don't, we know the Midrashim, they put the kids into the wall instead of bricks. Bnei Israel were complaining to Moshe, what have you done? We had good life before you came. Moshe saw the Holocaust, because this is what happened, even before, more than just slavery. And he complained to Hashem, ומאז באתי אל פרעה, עצה לא הצלת, right, you didn't save us, it became only worse, etc. Then later on, Hashem, in this parasha, he said something, and then Rashi Mefarish explained, he said, חבל על דאבדין ולא משתכחין, he said, I put Avram in so many nisyonot, I put Yitzchak, Yaakov, they never doubted me, they never asked why. So why are you asking me why? So, the topic from the Netivot Shalom is, המוציא אתכם מתחת סבלות מצרים. I am the one that take you out under the suffering, or under the hands of the Egyptians. Therefore go to Bnei Israel and tell them, I am Hashem, and I'm going to take you out, or under the hands, or under the suffering of Egypt. והצלתי אתכם מעבודתם, וגאלתי אתכם בזרוע נטויה, and I'm going to save you from the work that they're putting you to, and I will redeem you with a mighty or a leaning hand, ובשפטים גדולים, with great punishments for the Egyptians, of course. ולקחתי אתכם לי לעם, and I will take you for me as a nation, and I'm going to be your God, and you will know that I am your God that take you under the suffering of Egypt. And he said we need to understand really in these verses the double wording that it's using. שבתחילה, at the beginning it says, והוצאתי אתכם מתחת סבלות מצרים. And after that he repeats, וידעתם כי אני השם אלוקיכם, and you should know that I am Hashem, your God, that take you under the suffering of Egypt. But I just told you that I am your God that taking you under the trouble of Egypt, or the suffering of Egypt. And you should know that I am the God that took you out from the suffering. Also, we need to understand why וידעתם כי אני השם אלוקיכם, why it says about, and you should know that I am Hashem your God, specifically on המוציא אתכם מתחת סבלות מצרים, that I'm taking you under the suffering of Egypt, and not about the rest of the 4 different type of terminologies of redemption, מציל, גואל, right? So he said, ועצם פירוש סבלות מצרים, and what does it mean, the סבלות מצרים, the suffering of Egypt? We should say, יש לומר, Rashi explained, torach מסע מצרים, like the burden or the yoke of the weight of Egypt. It was very hard, very difficult to carry. And in the previous parasha, in the verse when it says, ויאמר למלך מצרים למשה, למה משה ואהרון תפריעו במעשיכם, לכו לסבלותיכם. So Pharaoh, when he heard Moshe and Aaron basically asking him to release them for a few days, so he's asked, he said, why you, Moshe and Aaron, are bothering the nation, you're bothering the Bnei Israel from their deeds, from their action, from their work, go to your suffering. So what is Sivlotchem? So Sivlotchem, in Hebrew, it's a Lashon HaKodesh. So Sivlotchem, it is suffering. But Rashi explained, it actually go to your job, go to your work, which means that you need to do in your homes. So now there's a question. Moshe and Aaron was from the Shevet Levi. Shevet Levi, they didn't work, right? They didn't work. It was for the rest of the Shvatim. So, and you should know that Moshe and Aaron are coming and going, shelo bereshut, like it's like not in permission, but, and if Sivlotechem, the word Sivlotechem is including also the work at home, or the slavery. So why the Sivlot Mitzrayim, the same word, Sivlot, Sivlotchem, the Sivlot of Mitzrayim, is explained in the Lashon Torach Masa, like a burden and a yoke and a weight of Egypt. Because if he's sending you home to do your work at home, which is like, I don't know, cleaning your home, cooking at home, etc., it's not a burden. You have to do it because it's your home. You need to do it. So like very, very interesting here. So, yes, indeed. The main thing of the exile in Egypt was a preparation for ולקחתי אתכם ללמד, that I will take you for me as a nation, and I will be your God, and you will be the chosen nation. And that was a preparation for receiving the Torah and to inherit Eretz Israel. And all the Madregot Aramot and all the high level, the spiritual level that we, Bnei Israel, were supposed to get, to reach to these levels. And that's why it says, "V'achechem yatzu b'rechush gadol," like Hashem promised Abraham in the covenant between the parts that, yeah, after the slavery, after the suffering, etc., etc., they will come out with the loot, with the rechush gadol. So we know the Torah is a spiritual thing. Yes, however, we're living in this world. But usually when the Torah is talking about richness and physical thing, it means spiritual things. So he said, this is the Rechush Gadol, after the redemption, which is the advantage of Am Yisrael. That's something that we benefit, that we've been elevated. Why? Because of the exile in Egypt. And the exile was in the context of lacking, which come before the growth of the nation. Right? You put a seed in the ground, it's rottening, and it looks like it's gone. That's it. It's just a rotten thing. But just before it completely rotten, it started to sprout. That's part of the process. So בעניין הכתוב, וארא ויהי בוקר. So it said, first there is a night, then there is a day. So קודם חשוכה והדר נורא. The first there is darkness, and then the light will come. So first, we passed through the darkness of the exile of Egypt, and then we became the chosen nation. That was a boot camp, right? We learned it so many times. So we reached to the Kabbalat Torah and to inherit the land and receiving the Torah only after we had in the boot camp. And therefore we have the exile in Egypt, which here is said that is the difficult among all the other exiles. וכדאית שבמצרים נשקעו במ"ט שערי טומאה, that in Egypt we were sinking in all of these שערי טומאה, right, in the impurity gate, which was not in the other exiles that we unfortunately went through, and still, right, we don't have the complete redemption. And it says in the verse, in the Brit, in the covenant between the parts, that we will be foreigner in a land that doesn't belong to us. Allegedly, it's looked like what is it says בארץ לא להם? After it says גר יהיה זרעך, that you're going to be a foreigner in the land that doesn't belong to you. Yes, if I'm a foreigner, it's not belong to me. It's not my land. So what it says, it's emphasizing בארץ לא להם, a land which is not there, which means not that they don't belong or they don't have a land written in the municipality office that this is my lot. No, land that is not appropriate for you, which is a contradiction of our nation, our values and everything, or contradicting our essence. Bnei Israel yardu goy kadosh, right? So they all went 70 pure souls going down to Egypt, to a filthy place. It's not shayach. It's like today, if you're looking at one of the rabbanim, right, the gadol rabbanim, and he's going to a club, right, a disco club or whatever. It's not shayach. So that's why it said that we went down to a land that doesn't belong to us. Eretz lo lahem, not for us. It's not good for us. Why? Because we are the source of Kedusha, and Egypt is the Ervat Haaretz. It's a filthy place. It's the source of the impurity and filth. And therefore, it's not a land for us. Not supposed to go there. And that's why he said that was The exile in Egypt is the worst one from all the other exile that we are in. And according to that, it's hinted that they were put them to work and they tortured them. Two minei surim, two suffering. Va'avdum, right? They gave us work to do, this is the physical suffering, the gashmim, yisurim gashmim, that we suffered over there. As it says, ve'avidu mitzvah, they gave us literally hard work, hard labor. Achen kol zman, right? But indeed, as long as it's only the body, and you don't have a mental suffering, then we feel that we are not away from Hashem. Yes, suffering, burden, hard work, etc. Hashem is with us. We don't feel that we're disconnected. And then we have the ability to tolerate and to carry everything. This is the physical suffering. But in addition to the avdum, in addition to put them to the hard physical work, וגם ועינו אותם, and they torture us, which is the torture of the soul, in the impurity of Egypt and the filth and everything, that was the source of the filth in the world. As it says, Maseret Mitzrayim lo tasu, that you shouldn't do like what they're doing over there. And it says in the Holy Book, on Avraham Avinu, Ve'i kasher ikriv lahu Mitzrayim, right, that he went down to Egypt because there was a famine in Israel, and he go down to Egypt, and he told Sarai, right, at the time she was Sarai, I know that you are a beautiful woman. And our sage says what? Until now he didn't know. Yeah, he knew, but he knew because of the Gedusha that they have between them. There was nothing to do with beauty or anything. But now that it's going down to the land of Egypt, suddenly this thing triggered. Like, it's a very thin, like a hair, but it's like Avraham Avinu was impacted by the filth of Egypt, that suddenly he look how his wife is beautiful. Until now, he was only in Tahara and Kedusha. So you never think about it. But now, getting that close to Egypt, these things are starting to pop up. As I will explain, and it says in the Haggadah, right, in Pesach, which is like less than 3 months, ואילו לא הוציא הקדוש ברוך הוא את אבותינו מצרים, אנו ובנינו, right, that if wouldn't Hashem take us out from Egypt, then we and our sons and the son of our son, like all the generation, we've been enslaved to Pharaoh in Egypt. They said that slavery is only in Egypt, because in the rest of the exiles, we were not enslaved. Yeah, we worked, yes, they robbed us, they mag us, etc., but we were not their slaves. And if you look at the other exiles, or when we were in exile, right, like we were in power, right? If you look, for example, after Beit Rishon, the story with Esther, Pharaoh put Mordechai to be the judge over there, and they have like a very high minister after Aman. And if you look at Spain before the Inquisition, Jews were like in the government, in the whatever. Okay, no government because they were king, but they were in the ministers, treasure ministers, etc., etc. So we were not enslaved. We actually sometimes we had a good exile. It's comfortable, like here, Baruch Hashem. Here we have a very comfort exile. But we were working, and sometimes they were doing whatever they want with us. But it was not a spiritual enslaved. So, but the land of Egypt at the time, it was called Bet Avadim, the house of slaves, because over there everything was enslaved. The body, the thinking, the brain, the heart, everything was enslaved to the Tuma and the filth of Egypt. As it says in the Midrash, that we were like a fetus in his mother's womb. Not only that we were under their hands, under the ruling, but we became part of Egypt, like a fetus in his mother's womb. And if Hashem wouldn't take us out, then we will be deeper and deeper. We will be in a complete, absolute slavery that will actually chas v'chalila bring to the elimination of the existence of Am Yisrael. And we were in the 49 level. But that was not the same in the other exile. So, and this is Inyan Sivlot Mitzrayim. This is like the suffering of Egypt, the burden and the carrying of the burden of Egypt, which was the worst and most difficult exile. in Gashmiut and spiritualism, in physicality and in spiritualism, that we're totally enslaved to the Egyptian and we were sinking in that 49 level. And this is what Pharaoh told Moshe, Lama Moshe ואהרון, תפריעו אותם ממעשיכם, לכו לסבלכם. Why Moshe and Aaron, you bothering the people? Let them work. Because Moshe and Aaron told him that, yeah, we want to go 3 days in the desert, right, to take a winter vacation and go and serve Hashem in the desert. And Pharaoh was very wicked, smart, wicked person. And he said, no, what you have to look in the desert for slavery? No, you can steal and work here. You don't need to go to worship your God, which is type of slavery, right? We are Avdei Hashem, do it in the desert. No, stay here. Here it's much better, right? This is much better. But if you look at it from the Hasidic point of view, that it is if like Pharaoh is a messenger from Hashem, and he's telling Moshe Aaron, and for us, we need to overcome the source of the tuma and the filth, which is in Egypt. ומה העבדות שבמדבר, כנגד אבישי שיש לכם כאן, שקשה יותר דק. That's not a good experience in the desert. To be a better experience here in Egypt. Now you can really overcome and work and put an effort to overcome the slavery. So go to your sivlotchem, go to your suffering, go to the work in your houses, in your home. Even though Moshe and Aaron, they didn't work in Egypt, but the filth of Egypt is spreading all over until your houses. And you need to work over there. You need to make sure that it will not get in, not penetrate the tuma and zuama, the filth, about the anagat habayit, about your Jewish home. And that's including, that's including in the suffering of Egypt, in the slavery of Egypt, which is not only the body, but also spiritual. And that was the main difficulty of the Shiabud in Mitzrayim, that they impure us and they took us away from Hashem. According to Lechu lesivlotechem, go to your slavery, that's it. ובזה יש לומר, and with that we need to say, וידעתם כן Hashem לכם, right? So we started with few questions. One, that Hashem said, I took you out from under the burden of Egypt, from the suffering, for you to be my nation and I'll be your God. And remember that I took you out. Okay, you just said that. So why it's double? So he said, I'm Hashem, the one that took you under the suffering of Egypt, because in order for me to take you out and extract you from the filth of Egypt, really only God can do that. Ani velo malach, ani velo saraf. Because we were in the 49 level and we were about chas v'chalila to be lost. And if we would be waiting a little bit more, that's it. That would be the end, chas v'chalila. And the power for that, against that, it should be only rak v'yadatem, right? Lada, to know. To know. It's much stronger than to believe that I am Hashem your God. That you should know that I am Hashem your God. And you're cleaving in me. That the strength of the Gedusha, of the Dvekut, of clinging to Hashem, will come and it will extract you from the Tumat of Egypt. Even though we were idol worshipping, we went disconnected, didn't keep anything anymore. But you have to have that knowing that Hashem is going to take you out. So yes, I took you out from that place of Tuma. And even though we were like a fetus in a mother womb, and the klipa, the shell and everything reach out to the houses even of Moshe and Aaron, the power to get out from it, it's only by knowing that I am Hashem your God. And that's it. And therefore it says, Ktiv kan rak hamotzi etchem, that took you out under the suffering of Egypt. And therefore, when we're always mentioning the redemption from Egypt, we are mentioning or commemorating only Yetziat Mitzrayim, the redemption from Egypt, but not the other part of the Geulah. Because that's the main thing, the Geulah v'Mitzrayim, that Hashem took us out from the filth of Egypt, that we were sink like a fetus in a mother womb. As it says in the Kabbalat Torah, right, when we receive the Torah, it said, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, shehotzeti otcha me'eretz Mitzrayim, I am your God that took you out from the land of Egypt. I was extracting you, I was taking out from the filth of Egypt. And also in the Parashat of Tzitzit, I am Hashem Elokechem, right? Asher hotzeti otchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, took you out from the land of Egypt. And the main redemption was under the suffering, under the Sivlot Mitzrayim. And the rest of the parts, which was, I save you from the work, I save you in the Zorah Netuya, right? I took you for a nation, etc., etc. He said, they are inyanim pshutim yoter. They are much simple things. But to disconnect us from the suffering, of the spiritual suffering, from the impurity and the filth of Egypt, only the power of Hashem, Ani Hashem, and you should know that I am Hashem, I am your God, that took you out. It's like we need to repeat and repeat and repeat to ourselves, not to forget that. So we don't understand it, because here in America, in the US, really, the Jews are free here. And we have shuls, we have yeshivot, we have everything and everything. And over there, they didn't have anything. So that's the thing, that here it's a very comfortable exile. Egypt was the worst one from all the other exile that we had. So that's why we don't really understand it. But here, Netivot Shalom is teaching us, he said that we always need to remember that Hashem is the one that took us out from Egypt. And only by thinking about it and knowing that will be enough for Hashem to use it and to take us out from all the other exiles, but especially from Egypt. Because this strength took us out even from Avi Avot Tumah, like the first layer, the father of the impurity, like the pure impurity in Egypt, which is the most difficult one. And by the way, this is one of the reasons why we're not supposed to go there back, right? And this is the main and the foundation, the yesod, and the root of the redemption from Egypt. וידעתם כי אני השם אלוקיכם המוציא אתכם מתחת מצרים. I am Hashem your God, that I took you under the suffering of Egypt. So we started with a few questions. Why Hashem keep repeating that? Why it's the Sivlot? Why Paro sending Moshe and Aaron, although they are Levim, to Sivlot Chem in your homes? Because this Sivlot is basically the spiritual slavery that was bringing Bnei Israel down until to the 49 level. And only by knowing that Hashem is the one that took us out, then Hashem actually really took us out from that spiritual filth. Because that was the most difficult one, not like the other exiles, which were the exile of the body. Here it was the body and the soul. Thank you very much for listening. Go ahead.